Eh bien le bonjour! Alors bonsoir et bienvenue à un autre épisode de The Vintage Kids. Welcome to a brand new episode of The Vintage Kids. She's not The Vintage Kids. I am!
Ouais.
By the way, I just received a new, we got our t-shirts. I don't like it. Get some, put my boobies too much and, you know. Mais, ouais, fait que je vais avoir des chandails de Vintage Kids. I'm gonna have some t-shirts from the Vintage Kids. I don't like the fact that you see the square. I want something better. So I'll probably do more. Let me go check the comments. I hope everyone's doing great. Il y a du monde qui crie là. Ça en passe des affaires. Yeah, so welcome to a 73rd,
Wow.
73e épisode de Vintage Kid, Square Man. T'en as pas donné à Kim, maudit sheep. Oui, mais elle en a. J'en ai 4. J'en ai 4. Mais...
J'en ai?
Oui, t'aurais pu mettre un chandail Vintage Kid, mais bon, tu sais.
On y a pas pensé.
Je voulais pas te forcer non plus. Là. Fait que tu dis non, moi, je... Fait que j'ai dit non, tu sais.
Mm-hmm.
Elle a grandi. Oui, ben, tu sais, elle grandit pas mal à tous les jours, je te dirais, Alex. Elle va grandir jusqu'à 21, puis t'étais rendu à 20, 28, là. Oui, elle est plus grande que moi.
Ouais.
Même Assis est plus grande que moi. So, welcome to this episode of the Vintage Kids. We've got a special episode today, and the reason why I'm doing this, I had, well, to be honest, I know that there's this comedian that do something with her daughter, and it's amazing. He's asking her tons of questions and stuff. And I talked about that with Kim a few months ago, and she said, I don't think it's a good idea. I said, okay, you're right. It's not, I don't want to do the same thing, and I totally understand. But then I thought, something that might interest people is when you're a vintage kid, and you grew up with Star Wars, you grew up with the geek nerds thing in your face, and now you have kids. I was interested to know how she saw it, the way that she grew up. She grew up with me, having a parent that is full Star Wars, that is, you know, got some. She grew up having a life-size Yoda in the living room.
I did.
Donc, ça m'intéressait de savoir, poor kid, ça m'intéressait d'avoir le point de vue d'un enfant qui a grandi avec un parent, dans le fond, qui est geek, qui a été malade de Star Wars. Puis pas juste Star Wars, on se comprend. We're talking about the kids that grew up in our years, 70s, the 80s, the 90s, with all that it meant, the occurrence of the internet, whatever. Mais aussi, also the fact that we grew up with movies, we grew up with trilogies, we grew up with those movies and TV shows that had so much an impact on us, collecting toys and stuff, collecting cards. Run, Kim!
J'ai ri quand je l'ai vu.
James, poor kid. She's not that poor, you know. She works.
I do.
Oh, moo moo. We also have our little one. Hello. Okay. Next week we're gonna have an interview with Molly.
It's gonna be really interesting.
Yeah. Ouais, tu veux passer à la TV. She just wants to be on the show. Okay. So, yeah, she's right there. Okay. I love you too. Oh my God! Don't take my wallet, please. Don't take my wallet. Attends. Okay, sorry about that. Stop. Assis. Okay, stop. Okay, sorry about that. That's the issue of having a puppy in the house while you make a live show. Happy birthday, buddy. Thank you very much. Yes, it's my birthday. Anyway,
It
so
is.
I talked about this to Kim and said, I don't want to do the same thing as I explained it a few months ago. I want to do something that we talk about you growing up. And so I want to see how fucked up I fucked up her childhood. That's what I want to know. Yeah. So, and I thought it was interesting because we are a lot of guys or even girls that at our age have kids that are now 15, 16, 20 or whatever. And I think it would be interesting to know her point of view from a certain point of view. Fait que je vais me fermer la gueule, puis on va commencer à poser des questions. If you guys have questions, don't ask. No, go ahead, ask. I don't think she'll necessarily answer everything, but
I'm not sure. I'm really
we'll
not
see.
sure.
Again, we're going to try to do this in French and in English. As you guys know, Vintage Kids is all over the place in the US and Canada and whatever. So welcome aboard. If it's your first time, hey! Yeah. Yeah, so it's my birthday, and she said that she would do it because it's my birthday.
It's true. It's his birthday gift.
I asked for money, but she said no. So I said, okay, you're stuck. You're going to be on the Vintage Kids. She said, okay. Okay, so I've got tons of questions. J'ai plein de questions, mais il n'y a pas de questions pièges. There's no, like, there's no, like, curveballs I want to ask, but I want you to give the real answers. So not the answers that people hope you'll say. Tu sais, genre,
Yeah, I'm just gonna say the real stuff.
C'est ça, les vraies affaires. Okay.
I'm just gonna warn. We've talked about some of the questions that were gonna be asked during the stream, and most of them, really, my point of view is like it's totally normal. So it's gonna be really special to go around that because for me, most of the questions that are gonna be asked is just like everyday life. I'm just talking about something that's so normal for me. So there's not gonna be a lot of that changed my life. It's not.
I fucked her at an early age. Very screwed her life really early. I don't remember when I was normal. She was 2 and using the force at Walmart. I'm opening the doors. No.
I was.
Yeah.
I was trained into doing that.
I fucked her life really early. No, but that's the thing that I want to talk about before I ask any question. I want this to be clear to everyone. As a dad, knowing that I was living with Star Wars everywhere in my surrounding, in my life and stuff, where did you get a better English than your dad? That's a good question. Well, I've got an answer for this. Puis tu veux la même.
Me too.
OK, donne la réponse. C'est qui? C'est Steve qui demande la question.
Mais Steve, the movies taught me how to speak English. I'm obsessed over movies. At like in between primary school and secondary school, I don't know what is it in like American language. It's middle school. In between these two, I went an entire summer and I started to watch English movies so much. It really like made me go from not knowing how to speak English to really knowing how to speak English. But I know what he wants me to say.
Yeah. No, I'm going to say it, but
it is true.
Yeah, you're totally right on what you're saying. Donc, c'est très vrai ce qu'elle a dit. Mais il y a une chose, par exemple, que moi, en tant que papa, quand elle était tout petite, quand elle était bébé, sachant que, pour moi, je ne vais pas dire l'anglais c'est important, mais oui, à quelque part. For me, the English is kind of really important because I 100% for French. We have to keep French in Quebec and stuff. It's really important to me. But I know that if you want to do a good living in this world, you have to speak English. You have to at least understand and make your way around it. So when she was a kid, when she was 1, 2, 3-year-old, and she started watching television, I would always until she was older. We would watch all the cartoons, all the TV shows that we would watch during dinner or during the morning would be English shows. And it was, I wanted that. I wanted her to, it would, I knew that she would learn it from that very young age to get used to hear English. And I'm not saying that's the only reason why she's good in English today.
But it's true.
But I think that it helped.
In a way, it was really something that I had when I was a baby almost, and everything around me was French and English, and it was really both. So when I started to learn and to use English more in my life, it was like natural. It felt right, and I just learned so quickly.
Yeah, and for me, it was the same thing as a kid. Half of my family lives in New Brunswick, and over there, it's when they talk half English, half French, and I don't know why, but it was always easy for me, English. I remember learning English when I was in school, but it's like if I already knew everything. It's like, yeah, I understand. And I remember my brother had a lot of problem learning English. So anyway, so that's the English part.
Yep.
Okay. I don't remember what I was talking about earlier. I'm going to check my notes.
That's a lot of notes.
New Brunswick is like that. Yeah. Ian, you're right. Not the entire New Brunswick province, but I would say up north, near, I guess, BZ, there's a lot of half French, half English, and my family is around Bathurst, and there's a lot of more, there's like 50-50 almost in the sentence, some English and some French. So anyway, I was used to hear English.
Yeah.
And also, when you were watching movies with us as a kid, we would most of the time watch movies in English at home.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's
anyway,
true. I saw another question. That's a really big, interesting question. Is Star Wars your favorite movie?
Okay,
that's a big one.
Yeah. So let's hit it right there. As I said earlier, I didn't want to put put Star Wars in your face and tell you as a kid, this is amazing, this is good. And I really did that. I didn't want her to be overwhelmed or forced to like Star Wars. So do you remember how I brought it to you? Tell me what you remember about that.
Well, I remember that you used to tell me stories before I went to bed. Like, this is where the part you're gonna see my dad's not normal, okay? You know, usually
I'm fat, but I'm okay.
You go to your kid's bedroom and you read books before bed.
Yeah.
You know, something special. He didn't read books.
No.
He told me stories, and he just like told me stories. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Luke and Princess Leia, and I didn't know what it was. I loved it though. I loved the stories, and every night he would talk through the Star Wars movies without me knowing so.
Yeah.
And after a while, when we finished the trilogy,
we were almost done at episode 4 because I started telling her episode 4 as a kid, and the thing is, she was listening, and she was like, it was, you know, if you had kids, you know that part is pretty important at night when you go to bed and stuff. So anyway, so I would tell her the story of episode 4, and I know that story so well. I would give her description of the droids, descriptions of the characters. I would tell her the right lines. Mm-hmm. So anyway, when we were almost done, we were. I remember we were at the trench run, the attack on the Death Star. And one night, I went to her and said, "Okay, we're gonna continue that story." And she said, "Yeah." I said, "You know what, Kim? I got to tell you something." She said, "What?" And I said, "You know what I'm telling you the story I'm telling you about, there's a movie about that.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I don't know if she remembers this, but her eyes like, oh, really?
No
I said,
way.
yeah. And she said, let's go watch it. I said, no, I don't. We're not going to watch it tonight. Yes, yes. She jumped off her bed and she ran to the living room and sat down on the couch and she was jumping. Put it on, put it on, put it on. So it was so
I've always been
funny.
obsessed with movies.
Yeah, because we love movies.
Yeah.
Her mom and I are both, we both studied in cinema and in movies. We're both really big movie fans.
Yeah.
And Star Wars is the reason why I've spent my life doing production.
So all this to say, I used when I was younger, when I discovered it was movies. I really, really, really liked it. I was
Yeah.
like obsessed with it, and
Yeah.
then at a certain age,
Yeah.
I kind of stopped like loving it that much. You know, stuff passes, stuff changes, especially
Mhm.
when you're really young. But it's always been a thing that I don't like get hooked on stuff for really, really long. I can change sometimes my liking or whatever. And now I've seen so many movies, and Star Wars is just like at the basis of my life. It's just normal. It's not my favorite movie
No.
right now at all.
Oh, I
like it.
yeah.
But
And honestly, I don't think that my favorite movie is Star Wars either.
Mhm.
Now that I watch so many other stuff and I learn about movies, I know how they do it, and I know how to write a script and stuff, and I can enjoy other stuff than sci-fi movies. I still enjoy sci-fi movies, and I think you also do. You watch the Marvel stuff. You've watched not.
oh yeah, I have almost every single one of them.
Yeah. So
Almost.
it's that kind of feeling that we get when we jump into a universe. And I know that Audrey,
Oh, yeah, I
my
know
girlfriend, is not a real big fan of sci-fi stuff, and it's totally okay because it's a genre. It's a genre.
Genre.
Genre. C'est normal que le monde ne tripe pas tout sur la même affaire. Ça, donc je comprends très bien. Mais to go back to what you said, that you were obsessed, just to clarify something, I didn't show her the other movies back to back. So what I did, I show her episode 4, so we watch A New Hope. And then I said, okay, by the way, there's more. And she said, oh yeah? I said, yeah. So what I did is, again, at night, I started to tell her the story of Empire Strikes Back. So we went through all Empire Strikes Back, and then we watched the movie. So I wanted, there was something that I wanted to do about this, and I love the answers that you gave me afterwards. I wanted her to imagine, to make her head create that story by what I was telling her. I love what you wrote, Jimmy V. And she's like, wow, my dad is so creative making all this up. No, not that much. I can do great spaghetti or stuff, but not that kind of movie. I did a few movies, but that's another story. So I showed her Empire Strikes Back, and then we've watched Empire Strikes Back. But what I loved about this was I asked her, now that you saw the movies, now that you know the characters, did you imagine them the way that they are? And I just loved her answer. She said, no.
No, I don't
No.
remember that. I was
Yeah.
4.
Yeah, I know.
But
So
apparently I said
she
no.
said no. I didn't imagine Chewie that way. I didn't imagine C-3PO that way. I didn't imagine R2-D2. So I thought it was an amazing thing to let her imagine that stuff just with my description, with my storytelling. I thought it was a great thing. I have to add your favorite sequence in Empire Strikes Back. Ta passe préférée dans l'Empire contre-attaque.
It's when Han Solo gets kryptonized.
Is that gets on carbonite?
Isn't it not
No,
Oh,
carbonized.
carbonized? My
Yeah.
bad. Too many movies.
So yeah, and it's funny because I used to back in the days we were doing a lot of traveling in the car. So I would give her my iPhone, and then on my iPhone, I would have Empire Strikes Back, and she would say, "Give me the phone, give me the phone," and she would watch that scene over and over and over again. It's like, oh man, that's so great. And then I would hear she would bring it back and watch it again. You know that he's always gonna get carbonized anyway. You know. Anyway, so that was a funny thing.
Yeah, I was obsessed. I remember being obsessed. I don't know why.
Well, it's probably because it was probably one of the first time you would watch a movie that was a sequence that is so dramatic. You would see Chewie, that you know that they are friends, and he freaks out, he screams, and there's Princess Leia that is like, "I can't do anything to help you, man," and "I love you." It was what's going on?
Yeah, I'm like, yes, again.
Let's put it back in that cement block. More. Okay, so that's for Star Wars. We've watched the whole thing. We went to see the last one from Disney at the movies, and we didn't really enjoy them.
Yeah, the answer is no.
No. So now there's the other thing I want to talk about is, do you remember when you were growing up that I used to have more toys than you?
Yes.
Yeah, that was something. Donc, quand elle était petite, l'ironie, c'était que j'avais plus de jouets qu'elle, tu sais. Mais les jouets, but the toys that I had, she would not be able to play with. Like in SNL, when the guys go and slides the door and put the toys in behind glass and says, "Yeah, awesome!" And the kids are like, "Man, he's fucking nuts." So what do you remember about that?
Well, I remember that I had a few toys that I could play with. And
Star Wars toys or other toys?
Well, I remember more like Star Wars toys. I remember I had one vintage cowboy thing. The one that the one I was literally obsessed with. We had named him. He would ride.
Oh yeah. Oh man, that's a great one. You got to tell the story. You remember the name?
No, I don't remember the name.
Johnny Cano.
Johnny Cano.
Johnny the boat.
Before we jump in that story, I'm gonna keep on saying that there was a few Star Wars toys that I know. Sometimes I see them still in the case, and I know they're worth money. They were worth a few bucks, and that I could play with. They were outside of the box. He was not that crazy, and I was obsessed with the lizard guy.
Yeah,
I'm
Bosk.
terrible with name. Bosk.
Yeah. Bosk was. It's funny because it's like if the crazy circle kind of story, because Bosk, as a kid, Bosk was the last Star Wars figures that was left from my personal collection as a kid. My mother gave a lot of the toys away. I sold some of them. I traded some of them anyway. And one day, I remember at my parents' house, many years later, I found my Bosk in a box. And as a kid, Bosk was one of my favorite characters. And the reason why was because of the hand, of the chopping hand. He is the one. I don't have a Bosk around. But if you check on the Bosk figure, thank you very much for the happy birthdays, by the way. Michael, thank you, man. So I love that lizard because we could kind of use it as a chop. It was like a weapon. And the funny thing is that as a kid, she one day says, "Man, that character, I love that character. That lizard character is great." I said, "Man, it was kind of my favorite one as well as a kid." Of course, was Boba Fett, for just like me and a lot of others. But Bosk was a cool figure.
Bosk was my favorite one.
Yeah.
Not Boba Fett.
No, I said for me.
Thought he was,
for me, as a kid.
But
yeah,
I thought Boba Fett was pretty scary. I don't think I liked him that much. He was cool, but I don't remember good things about him.
No, because he was kind of scary as a
Yeah.
kid. When you would, and I think that's why he became so popular because you wouldn't say much. He was running after Han Solo, and he's the reason why Han Solo gets into carbonite
Yeah.
to bring back the Jabba.
I should have liked him,
Yeah.
actually.
She wants to be a bounty hunter. No, it's not true. Salut Sandra, long time no see. Hey, c'est Sandra! Merci Sandra! Là, c'est Kim. Moumou est à terre. Okay, so for the toys, another thing that we have to... I don't know if it changed anything, but as parents, some parents actually love to play with their kids. Some would be like, I don't know, with figures on the floor. Others, they don't really care and play with their kids. And I'm not saying there's a good way and there's a bad way. I'm just saying that there's different parents that are doing it their way. And for me, I love to play with her on the floor. So I would spend hours playing around, and not with Star Wars toys. Star Wars toys were not really there. I mean, the toys that she would receive at Christmas. And I would not buy her always Star Wars toys.
No.
I mean, she would love, I'm not, Barbies or the Fisher Price little figures. We used to play a lot with a house. Remember the house that we would open with all the chairs and the little thing, and we would play around with that. So anyway, I used to play a lot with you on the floor and stuff. And I'm wondering, now that you can think about the evolution of what you've enjoyed to play with, what do you remember as your favorite toys?
Legos.
And I'm not Legos?
I can directly say Legos.
Oh, yeah.
I have so many good memories about Legos.
Yeah.
The other ones, yeah, I'm sure I loved it, but right now, if we were to get a big box of Lego and do the same things we did when I was younger, I would still enjoy it. So it's definitely Legos.
Okay.
Yeah, really.
I remember that, and by the way, I would not buy her Star Wars Legos. I would buy her like the Friends and City and whatever for kids, you know. But sometime I would purchase a X-Wing for me, and we would do it together. I've got a picture of me and her holding the box, and I'm like, oh, and she's like, oh. It's like, woohoo, we're making Legos and it's Star Wars. Yeah, so that, and I remember that what we used to do is we would create our own Lego construction. We would give us like a half an hour. Do you remember that? We would go on the table, would take out all the pieces
that's
out.
Exactly why I named it. If we were to do exactly that, I would like it. We would like do a big competition with Audrey.
Yeah.
And we would each have
Let's say half an hour.
Half an hour, and we'd have to create the most crazy thing with Lego, and then we would do a competition and see who would win.
Yeah,
I think sometimes there were rules, like more specific, like you gotta create an animal or stuff like that.
Yeah, or a ship or a house
something. Really, it was my favorite thing. Probably why I'm so obsessed with board games right now, because it's a competition. It's fun, and we sit all together for half an hour, and somebody wins. I'm obsessed. It's true. If we wouldn't be doing that right now, I would force all my family to do a board game.
Yeah,
because it's his birthday.
Yeah, we play board games almost every night that she comes around.
I'm obsessed.
Yeah, but it's cool, and that's another thing that I as a dad, I as a vintage kid parent, I'm really happy about that, because we are, again, as a kid, I would not, with me with my friends, we would not go as teenagers in clubs. All of our friends would hang out at my place or at my friend's place, and we would meet our girlfriends there, even as older teenagers. And we would play board games every day, every night during winter. If we were not playing hockey outside, or if we were not playing baseball, we would play board games and card games, because it's fun, because we play. It's special. It's a special moment that we can play all together and we're not on our phone, or we're not, you know. Anyway, so yeah, that it's amazing for me as a parent to have the chance to have a daughter that loves to play board games, because I enjoy playing board games a lot. So that's a cool thing. Now let's talk about collection. Did the fact that you saw me collect stuff and you've seen figures all around the house all the time as a kid, did you one day, because I've never really made you collect anything, it was you that started to collect a few stuff, but talk about that.
Well, obviously, my dad's been collecting Star Wars stuff, as we can see absolutely everywhere in the house, since before I was born.
Yeah.
But for me, it's always been extremely normal. Like, I understood it. It wasn't like, oh my god, every dad's gonna have a big collection when I'm gonna go play at my friend's house. It was really normal. Just my dad had it because he liked this and he liked that, and it was really, really normal.
Okay, so when you would go play at your friend's house as a kid, and you would go inside the house and like, where's the Star Wars stuff?
That did not happen, because I knew it was normal for me. It was like,
you knew that your dad was crazy.
Yeah, my dad's crazy. My dad does this, and other people doesn't do it. And it wasn't like, oh, my dad's weird, he shouldn't be doing that. It was just like, that's what he likes doing, that's what he does, and that's okay. There's nothing different. It was never a big hit. Really, just really normal for me.
And do you remember having Yodas in the you were too young?
Yeah, I do remember the big Yoda. The thing I remember the most was R2-D2.
Oh yeah, the
robot.
Yeah, the robot one.
That was awesome. I don't know if I remember it like more awesome because it was a long time ago and I was a kid.
No,
he was almost life size, I think.
No, he was. No? He's about that high.
I thought he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
It's the one that you can control with your voice. That was selling for around $100 back in the days, and I remember I purchased one, and we would play around in the house. Yeah, the hide and seek.
I would play hide and seek with a freaking robot. Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah, it's true, and it was fun because she would I would teach her how to say the lines for R2 to like dance or whatever. And she would say, "Hey R2, do the dance mode." And
I love it. That's definitely the big thing I have the most.
That's a long time ago.
No,
you were.
That's really.
Yeah, and that was like when you were 3 or 4.
Not the life size Yoda.
No. I'm not talking about.
No,
I'm talking about R2.
I'm saying it's not the life size Yoda that I have the most memories of. It was just there. I remember very well, but I didn't play hide and seek with it, or I didn't dance with life size Yoda. So
because the Yoda that I got, the life size one back in those days were the one from the Pepsi from episode 1. I won it in a contest, so I made a special case. It was inside a huge wooden case with plexiglass all around. So it was a big piece. I think it's at my brother's house today. Now I've got another one, but he's right there.
Yeah.
I got the different one, life size. Anyway, okay, so. But you collect stuff. You did collect stuff. You collected what was the name?
Not for long, no. I
collected
rocks, minerals.
Oh yeah.
I have some.
Yeah, you still have them
in my room right now, but
with your grandpa as well.
And with my grandpa as well. That was a cool thing. I liked it because it was my way to do like my dad. I could collect stuff, and it was also really cool because it's something that you can find literally everywhere. It's not like Star Wars where you have to go in a toy store or something. I can walk on the beach and find a really cool rock and remember it for the rest of my days because I have a rock, and I really liked that fact. But I also wanted to be a bit like my dad, but I didn't have like that much fun out of it. I have them. I don't do it as much as you do.
Yeah, I know. And it's fun also for the rocks because we would go at we went to New Brunswick to see my family. 1 year, only me and her with the train, and we're lucky enough to have family places next to the beach, and we would go on the beach and collect all kinds of rocks and stuff. And she would bring a bag full of her favorite
Rocks.
stuff. Yeah, favorite rocks. And there's so many stuff on the beach. I mean, you're next to the sea. It was amazing. You collected also comment ça s'appelait they were in garbage cans. Didi, elle va s'en souvenir. It was like squishy thing.
Yeah, it was a little monster.
Yeah.
I collected them, but it was not really a collection for me. I just wanted to have like a lot of them toys. I love sticking. I would stick them in your
on my
forehead.
face. Yeah, I've got pictures of me having all those things stuck to my face.
Trash
bags. Tu dis qu'il a marqué ça?
C'est trash bags. Yeah, a lot of tracks.
Ah, c'est Christian Denis qui a écrit, qui s'en est souvenu.
A lot of trash bags. I like them, but it wasn't for me a collection. It was just like toys. I like playing with them.
Yeah.
If it's seen as a collection, maybe, because you could not know which one you would have before you open the trash.
Yeah.
So kind of a collection, I guess. Yeah.
I remember one year I purchased you I think it was 200s of them, but from the factory. They were defect.
Oh,
and
yeah, they were weird.
Yeah, they were all defect, and they would sell them for, like, you would receive a box full of them directly from China. And I purchased like all the defects, and I gave that to her one Christmas, and then she opened the box and said,
oh my god, so many.
There's so many.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked about collection, we've talked about Star Wars, we've talked about growing up with toys all over the place, but there's something that I want to talk about, and there's actually a link with the rocks. I want to talk about conventions, because you came to, we did some conventions together. We did the Comic-Con in Laval. We did another convention over here in Blainville back just before the pandemic. And we went to a convention back in the days when you were really young, about 10 years ago, at a rock convention, a mineral convention.
Yeah.
Remember that?
You gave me a $50 budget, I think.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, you purchased some stuff for yourself.
Out, and I purchased like a lot of rocks.
Yeah, and we still have the rocks, the one that we purchased in the bathroom. Yeah.
A lot of them. It was really cool as well. Since they were rocks, you could find some really cool stuff for not a lot of money. So with $50, it was like $1 or $2 each, and then you like could find a big rock at 10, but it's a rock, so you're not gonna spend $10 on a rock. Still, we purchased a lot of stuff, a lot of them.
Well, what do you remember, or what is your way to see the convention? I'm not talking about
not the rock
ones,
the ones we
the
did.
Star Wars stuff, the geek, the world that, because I brought you there, and I've talked to you before. I said, get your shit ready, man, because you're going to see people dressed up as superheroes, as Star Wars characters, and you said, man, they're nuts. Yeah, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, don't point me after saying, well, they're nuts, but I know. Well, for me, it was actually
sorry about that.
Like insane. I loved it. It was
because I would have a table there. I would not only bring you.
Yeah.
I was an exposant. I was
selling stuff.
I've got my Yoda's Workshop kiosk.
That was cool. I was behind a kiosk and I felt so awesome. It was like my first real job, you could say. Like it was important. It was I had to actually work. I had to do the real deal, and then sometimes I would get the money, watch people so nobody steals, and that was stressful, but I loved it. Like the adrenaline non-stop for all the hours. The one I remember the most is the recent one where we bought the massage.
That was a Comic-Con.
Yeah, a Comic-Con, but
that was a real Comic-Con, because just to give people an idea, back in the days, I used to do the Montreal Comic Con, just like the Comic Cons that there's everywhere around the U.S. and Canada. But that year they did a smaller Comic Con. Laval is the city, the island next to Montreal, and it was a smaller Comic Con, and it was. I was doing a Comic Con for the first time in, I don't know, not 10 years, but at least 5 or 6 years. So it was a smaller one, but it was a nice one. And we actually met.
Oh, yeah, it was pretty big, I think,
Yeah,
honestly.
for you it was big.
Yeah, because it's
but
the
in
only
Montreal
one I've
it's
been.
way bigger.
It was really cool. There was people dressed up. It was people all the time. There was at least like 3 individuals buying or looking at stuff constantly. It was really cool. I dressed up the second day.
Second day.
I dressed up.
And she
Everybody
asked
dressed
me.
up.
I didn't force her. She asked me.
I really liked it. I felt cool. People were complimenting. It was a really cool costume.
Yeah, it was because I've got a Jedi costume, a Obi-Wan costume, but it's not like the one that you purchase at the store. It's one that was made for me, and it came from, I don't remember, somewhere in Europe, and it was too big for you, but even back then you were pretty tall.
Yeah,
so.
I was pretty tall. I was like 12, but I was
Yeah.
still pretty tall. It was big on me,
En
but
2019, you were how old? That's
I was 12.
4 years. Yeah, 4 years ago.
12.
Well,
I was 12.
yeah, 12. Yeah.
I was tall. I was like maybe this less tall, but really
About that.
about that. No, really, I was really tall, and it fit me fine. It was a little big, but it was perfect because I felt cool. I felt it was awesome.
Yeah.
I would do it again.
Yeah.
Even at 16.
And it was cool because I was doing the Comic-Con, and 2 weeks prior to that, I was supposed to go at the ICCC in Nashville to see our ICCC family and the MMC guys and everyone, and meet Michael and meet Andrea and stuff. But I got my thing, my health issues, so they told me you're not able to go. So okay, and I already purchased everything. I had purchased the place that we would stay. I purchased the tickets. I've got my anyway. I've got my stuff from the bandolier. How do you say? Or the pass to get in the ICCC.
Yeah.
So what I learned is that at the Comic-Con in Laval, there were Daniel Logan was one of the guests, and he was just coming out of the ICCC. So I showed up and went to see him and brought my ICCC badge. I said, hey man, I was supposed to meet you 2 weeks ago. He said, what? Oh, no kidding. So anyway, we clicked, we've talked, he came to our booth.
Yeah.
We took pictures with him. He spent a little time with us. What an amazing guy. And again, even sometimes I go and check at his bounty box, and we talk, and always say hi, always happy to see me. What an amazing human being. Anyway, so it was fun because for you were also meeting for the first time
A lot of people.
yeah. And even actors from Star Wars.
Actors, you're right.
So it was like, and not like no, he came and he spent time with us. He took pictures with you. He went through my stuff. He asked about my vintage stuff. Anyway, it was amazing.
I did not speak as good of English as because I didn't have big conversations.
Well, even though you probably
not
did
as
a
well, because
little.
I remember I was trying to talk with people that were speaking English, and I was like, yeah, this is a lightsaber. I didn't know.
But most of the people were French over there. Since
yeah, but there was some English. And Audrey doesn't speak English that well, so most of the time...
Now she's way better now.
Yeah, she is. She is way better. But back then, if there was people that would speak English, it was you or me that had to deal with it. So I was 12. Yeah. English wasn't my like big thing.
So people would say, "I'm gonna give you $3 for that lightsaber." Okay.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't that bad.
No.
So the cool thing also that I have to add about this is that now I'm gonna learn eventually if I'm gonna do more convention. I want to do some, but it's so much work.
It is. it was so freaking fun.
Yeah,
I know
it's
you
fun.
liked it too.
Yeah, I really
But
enjoy
the
it.
big deal is if we're gonna make some money out of it
Yeah.
as well, because we can't lose money out
No,
of it.
I mean it's if you know that you'll go there and you're gonna lose money,
Yeah,
at least you know that you're gonna lose money. I'm gonna give a bad example, but it's like going to the casino.
Mm.
You know, like
Yeah,
I
but-
go there,
yeah.
back in the days. I used to go to the casino in Montreal with my friends. I would bring $100, and I knew that I would not come back with my $100. I knew it. It's like I'm gonna lose $100 tonight, but sometimes I would come back and I would not have lose that $100. I would have win, lose, win, lose. So when you do a convention, if you go and say I'm gonna enjoy the experience, meeting people
yeah, but
and
it
stuff.
has to be an experience that's worth the $500 you're gonna put it in.
Yeah, and in
Like,
today's
understand.
it's a lot more than
It's
that.
a lot more.
Yeah.
So it's complicated, but like you're saying, if eventually you're gonna do it again,
If I
you're
have
gonna,
to do it again,
if you have to do it again, I'm guessing the question was, would you do it with me?
Yeah,
again?
yeah, because you've talked about this
A lot.
a lot to me. It's like we're gonna do it more. We're gonna do more, right? I said, man, I don't know. It costs a lot of money, and it's all also the big issue of it's not a one-man job, and it's not a one-man and a 12-year-old job.
I'm not 12
No,
year
I
old
know, but you know,
anymore,
back
but-
in the days, like
yeah.
I remember afterwards, and I was learning how to deal with my new
Problem.
health issues, so I had no clue what was wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always saying, man, I don't know if we're gonna do more. So now, if one day I don't have really a choice to do them to make money, yes, of course I want to do them, but I will never be able to do it alone, like
And
on my own.
obviously, if I can,
Yeah.
I will do it. I will. It was a beautiful experience, and I'm always happy to help you with your little business.
And it's funny because back in the days, just before she was born, I used to sell a lot on eBay. It was one of my jobs. And when she was born, for all reasons I've already explained, I decided to like step back out of eBay, and I spend the time that as a dad, to fucked her brains out as a kid, like, oh, you're stuck with me, so that must be normal. It's like being stuck with a parent that hit the kid, oh, that must be normal, he's just nuts. So what I was saying is I stopped selling for about 10 years, 8 years, I don't remember. And I started back, and that's when I created Yoda's Workshop, the Facebook group, and everything. And yeah, and now she's stuck with that too. And now she's doing a vintage kids with her dad.
Yeah, something that's gonna stay on the internet forever.
Oh,
and
well,
ever.
the internet might not live forever. That we don't know.
Oh, you're going far. I think it's gonna
Yeah.
stay longer than me and you.
Oh, I don't know. Well, people will have to find us, which
That's
is
true.
yeah.
Yeah, it's hard.
But we're at episode 73, so we're gonna do something big at episode 100. Yee. By the way, before we finish, there's 10 minutes left. I want to say next week we're gonna do a Christmas movie
There's
special.
only 10 minutes left.
Yeah,
Wow, that
Yeah.
went quickly.
yeah.
You wanna stop?
No, we got 10 minutes left.
Why?
On continue 10 minutes, tu vas pas arrêter tout de suite?
Okay, it's fine. We can continue. I just thought
Ouais.
it would go longer.
Ah, non, ben, on peut aussi.
No, I really don't mind.
No, mais I just wanted to tell people that next week we're going to talk about this before I forget. Because we're going to talk about Christmas movies.
Christmas movies.
Yeah, the best Christmas movies. Happy birthday from Saskatchewan! Saskatchewan! Oh, it's Rich Kulak! Welcome aboard, my friend. Thank you very much. Okay, so now we have to talk to finish this. Let's talk more about the movies. We've talked about Star Wars. We've talked about, but what do you remember? Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about the movies that I showed you. That was the other issue. I didn't force her to watch Star Wars, but I wanted her to see some specific movies. What movies do you remember that I showed you as a kid that was kind of for kids that you enjoyed back in the days?
Well,
Name
if
me
you
like
say
the ones
back
you
in
remember.
the days, like I'm not gonna go really far, but I can go like in the more recent back in the days. For me, it's
Like
pretty old. Like,
Friday.
I'm talking between 8 to maybe 12 years
Yeah.
old, and I'm 16, so it was a while ago.
Yeah, for you it was a while ago. For me it was yesterday.
We talked about it. I'm really bad with names, but the movie with the dude that his face is like fucked up.
Goonies.
Goonies, yeah, that's one you showed me a long time ago.
Yeah, very long time ago.
I like that one. I don't have a lot of things to say about it because it's just for me a child, like one of my childhood movies.
Yeah.
But for the more recent stuff, there's Rocky, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. We've watched
There's
the Rocky.
Rambo. I'm gonna have to
The
say
first
stuff about
Rambo.
that.
We said we watched the first Rambo.
The two.
The two first. The
I
two.
think,
The
yeah.
two first.
I remember
movie?
the first one. I didn't like the second.
The second one was he was getting the POWs, the
Yeah, I
prisoner of
remember
wars.
we
Okay.
watched that.
Yeah, it was more like crazy. The first one is
Yeah.
like more in the same town in the forest, but the other one is like in Vietnam.
Wait, maybe it was a while ago. I'm not sure. There's one of the two rainbows that we saw that I did not like.
Yeah, probably maybe the first one.
I think it was the first one with the police, and
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I did not like that one.
Okay,
But
so that
I'm
was
gonna,
the first
I'm
one.
going to talk about it more. Obviously, Star Wars. I feel like I'm forgetting. Oh, recently, The Shining.
Oh yeah.
That
That's the reason why I used the let me show you guys again. We'll be and we're back. And we're back.
But more
As-tu montré Papa avec Robin
like I
Williams?
said,
Non, pas encore. J'ai pas montré. Ça, j'imagine, c'est ouais, Michel. Non, j'ai pas montré Papa encore avec Robin Williams. Anyway, continue.
The Shining.
Yep.
You showed me that pretty recently.
Yeah, well, about 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, well, at least it is my favorite movies of all times. That's why it's so in the back.
Yeah.
If it was any movie like a Star Wars, maybe I would not have accepted to do the photos, but I love The Shining, so
Yeah.
I accepted.
Yeah.
And really, that forges me because I really like that movie. I don't like horror movies. I don't like other stuff. Really, if you ask me, since I saw it, this is my favorite movie.
And you've watched the sequel. You've watched
I have.
the Doctor Sleep with Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
But it was not as good
Well,
as the first one because it's kind of
no.
more
I
haunted.
wished they did not explain, because in the second, it's
yeah.
really just to explain what the hell was happening in the first one. I did not like that. I would have liked it to stay a mystery, but really the second's just like, oh yeah, you've been wondering for so many years what has happened. This is what has happened. This is everything. This is it's a power, blah blah blah. It's too much. I wish it was still a little bit mysterious, maybe back in the time or something special. Obviously, it was smart. It was good. It was a good movie, but I did not like the idea of it. No.
I have to ask about rapid fire on movies that I think you've watched. Back to the Future trilogy.
Yes, I forgot that. Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, that was it. I think you enjoyed all 3 movies.
All of them.
Yeah. Indiana Jones.
Yeah, not as much as Back to the Future.
And we went to see Indiana Jones, the last one. You came with me to see it in the movies.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've watched all 4. Yeah, I remember one night we had to watch 3 and 4.
We've watched them all because
Audrey was late. She missed.
Yeah.
Yeah, she missed the second one. Yeah, I remember.
I liked it, but that's also complicated because I'm not gonna go talk about everything that's more recent and my entire idea of it, but Indiana Jones really has a stereotype, like the strong dude,
Yeah.
and
From
I'm
the
not
80s.
like the girl that has to be everything that has to be girl. Actually, I love it when it's a guy, but it's really intense. There's not really good portray of woman and that whatever. And when I was younger, it was a little bit weird, and I've always seen that. But overall, like there's video games, there's a lot of stuff. I love the idea. I love Indiana Jones. The movie's a little bit less for some reason.
Okay. What other? We haven't watched. I've watched Lethal Weapon, but it was with Audrey. We didn't watch. There's a few movies that we have to watch. We've watched Rain Man. Remember Rain Man?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that was
a really good movie.
Yeah, I think you've enjoyed that. And
I
mean, it's not a kid movie.
I've seen it again and again.
Oh, you've watched it more than once?
A lot of times.
Yeah. Robin Williams movies. We saw
a lot of them. And then
Mrs.
I learned
Doubtfire.
he was dead.
Yeah.
And that
well, you didn't know.
No, I
You don't
didn't know.
remember when he died. It's not that long ago.
Well, wait.
It's about 5 or 6 years ago that Robin died. I don't remember.
Oh no, I think I didn't know, and you told me after I watched the movie.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my lord, how?
Yeah.
And you didn't tell me how.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, after more years after I came back with the subject, as I didn't do my research, and I was like 14 years old or something, and then you told me he did something.
Yeah.
So
he killed himself.
He
Yeah.
killed
well,
himself,
because of the disease that he wasn't able to live with it anymore.
Mhm.
So it was not people saying, "Oh, it was depression." Yeah, it was not really kind of only depression. It was his mental sickness. Well, it's not mental.
Well,
it's
I'll just
brain.
say that I really like his movie. I really like the actor. And when you told me what happened to him, yeah, I was like, oh my god, I did not expect that. I liked it that much that it really hit me hard.
We've seen Doubtfire, Mrs. Doubtfire. We've watched Jumanji. We've watched Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Hook.
A lot of them.
Yeah. But
it's weird because you're like talking about them like, oh yeah, I showed her this, guys. Oh, it's amazing. But for me, it's really normal. Okay, I said at the beginning.
Yeah. Well,
like for me, these are normal movies. They're my childhood movies. It's not special for me to have watched them as a 16-year-old. It's really normal.
And for me, it was important to show you those movies because not only because they were my childhood movies, it was because I really considered that, and I think that a lot of people will say the same thing. Patch Adams. On a écouté Patch Adams quand il est le médecin avec le nez. We watched Patch Adams, and it's one of Audrey's favorite movie. So what I was saying is that I didn't show you those movies because they were my childhood movie. I wanted to show you those movies because I consider them pillars, the piliers, the really important movies in the history of all movies. The Back to the Future movies, you watch them today, whatever the age you are, you're going to say, wow, man, that's really well made. The Star Wars, same thing. They're not necessarily the best movies in the world, but you have to consider what they brought to the movie industry. Nothing was made like that before.
Exactly.
Indiana Jones or whatever.
I was thinking of saying because I'm actually mature enough, but then I'm saying to everybody online that I am mature. It's weird to say this, but in a way, I was raised to understand how movies were made back then, what they were compared to other, and I understand that even if it looks really silly compared to the stuff that's being done now, it's freaking amazing because it was done back then, and I can still feel like the impact that it would have had. It was really cool.
Yeah, it was the first time for blue screen stuff. First time for stop motion was not the first time, but anyway, back in Empire Strikes Back, there's so many stop motion frame by frame of that ad that moves frame by frame. Anyway, that was a heart. It was hard to do, and it was heart.
Not Addams Family. I haven't watched that.
Addams Family on the point
No.
to Addams Family, no. We watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Le lapin là, en petit comique en vrai là.
Oui, on a vu
watch
ça.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and it's because also I never really show you stuff and expect that you are going to enjoy them. Sometimes, as I always say to people around, some people say, "Oh, don't watch that movie, it's so bad." And I always say, as a movie guy, there's always good in every movie. You're gonna find something that you'll be able to enjoy, even if the movies suck. Perhaps one of the actors gonna do an amazing job in that terrible movie, or the effects are amazing, or the story is not very good, but the I don't know, the way that it's shot, it's different than what you are used to see. I'll give you an example. All the Wes Anderson. If you watch a Wes Anderson movie, it's different. It's his style. You watch the Coens brothers movie. Did you watch? No, you haven't watched Big Lebowski yet. We haven't seen Big Lebowski together yet. Man, we've got to watch Big Lebowski. One of my favorite movie of all time.
It's the dude.
Yeah, it's the dude, man.
No, I haven't watched that.
Oh, we're gonna watch the dude, man. Oh
if
man.
we can come back to Rambo?
Rain Man.
No,
Rambo.
I said I would come back to that.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, you talked when I was younger, like before you watched it, a lot about it. Like, yeah, you're gonna like that movie. That's a nice movie. Like, obviously, like you keep on saying you didn't want to force me to like a movie, but you expected me to like it because you had shown me a lot of other. It was one of the last movies you showed me, and for
Rambo. The first two Rambo. Yeah, because
you showed them back to back.
Yeah,
too.
and just to give you guys the reason why I probably show her Rambo so much. For me, as a kid, Stallone was one of my favorite actor of all time. But Rambo was for me that's the reason why I've got long hair, and that's true. The reason why I've got long hair is because of John Rambo, and I still have long hair today. But they're still making Rambo movie, but got short hair now. But I don't care. I still love the long hair. That's the reason why I'm having long hair. Shh! Don't tell my daughter. Yeah, okay. So I love that character. So I wanted to show her the guy. And the other, like, if you want to see a tough guy, you've got to watch John Rambo, man.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm gonna go on to say that. You want me to say the truth? I'm not gonna say I love that movie because you freaking love that movie. But it's not one of my favorites.
No.
Like Back to the Future.
Yeah.
It's really I'm gonna say it's realistic, but it's not. It can't be realistic, but it is. It's like you see the kid. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names. Really, it's a real
Marty
problem.
McFly and Doc Brown.
Yeah, they're not like getting shot at and like walking around with 20 bullets in their stomachs. You know, that's like, wow, okay, it's actually cool. You watch 2 minutes of Rambo, the dude like cuts himself, gets shot at, and he's still walking. It's not a real man. That's a freaking Play-Doh figure.
He's a superhero type of person.
Yeah, see, if you watch,
Just like
for
me.
example, a Marvel movie and they get shot at and stuff, it's not that realistic, but it has superpower.
Yeah.
Rambo doesn't have any superpower.
He's like Batman.
Yeah, but Batman has like armor, and if
Batman, his superpower
shot,
is rich. That's his superpower. He's kind of he's the Elon Musk of superheroes.
He does have a superpower though.
Yeah.
But still, Rambo, it's like not realistic.
No.
It's too much. It kind of breaks me out of it a little bit, and it's also just people shooting at each other.
Yeah.
There's not enough like relation and.
Yeah, because
In the second one, there's more.
Right. Yeah, there's more because he's going to save
Exactly.
friends. Yeah.
He's going to save people, and that's cool. Cause like, oh yeah, I know this guy.
Well, you're gonna enjoy the third one.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, because the third one is my favorite one,
Mm-hmm.
and the reason why it's my favorite one is probably because I was expecting the third one so much back in the days, but yeah, Rocky. She saw Rocky. She enjoyed Rocky, but we haven't watched all of them, did we?
The what? The Rocky? Yeah, we've watched all of them.
Not the fifth one, not the one that is the worst one.
Where
and I don't think
the guy dies.
No, that's the fourth one. The fifth one, he fights in the street with. He loses everything. We haven't watched it because it's the worst one in the series. I think we've saw the first one.
Rocky, I liked it more.
Yeah, well, it's a more relationship.
Because somebody said, or Rocky. I don't know when they said that, but I'm guessing it was when we talked about Rainbow. Like, I get it, he's like invincible, but it's not at that extent. It's less.
Yeah, but he's
He
not
gets
really invincible.
punched, and I understand that normally somebody gets punched to the head and it's over.
Yeah.
But you know, he has a few moments where he's actually down and where he gets beaten, where he's like real. He's a human.
And he no, spoiler alert, he gets cancer. He gets cancer in the follow-up with Momo. Qu'est-ce que tu fais? She just woke up. No, don't lick my face. Okay, attends. All right, so we went 7 minutes over our time. So anyway, so we would probably have so much more stuff to talk about. Considères-tu les Creed comme des Rambo si tu désires voir tous les Rocky, pas des Rambo, des Rocky? Oui, je les considère. Peut-être pas le dernier, je l'ai pas vu là.
Moi, je les ai pas vus les Creed.
Les Creeds, non, tu les as pas vus, mais c'est la suite de Rocky, c'est le fils à Apollo. So the question in French is, do you consider the Creeds movie as Rocky movies? And I would say the first two, yes, because Rocky is in there, and it's about Apollo Creed. So I really enjoyed the two first one, and I love the fact that they actually brought back Ivan Drago for Creed 2. I think it was a great idea. I haven't seen the third one. I have to watch it. I mean, it's still Creed, so it's still in the Rocky family. So yeah, I want to watch this. All right, so that's it for today.
Sure, that was
Merci,
cool.
man. So thank you very much to that little kid right there. Well,
That's
she's not
me.
that little.
No.
For doing this with us. I hope you guys had kind of not an idea of what your kid went through, but every kid's different, every parent's different, but I wanted to give you an idea of what perhaps your kids grew up or felt like when they grew up with our vintage kid parents or freak or whatever. So sorry about destroying your childhood. All right, so good times. Happy birthday. Thank you very much. We're going to see everyone back next week. Like I said, I want to do a Christmas movies, best Christmas movies special next week, just before Christmas. And during the Christmas time, we're going to skip a week or two because it's Christmas time. So, again, if you have any questions, you have a question or suggestion, about whatever, please send me a message. I'll be happy to reply as soon as possible. Bonne fête, mon vieux. Yeah, c'est moi ça. Ça sent les épices qu'on a mangées. J'ai une burpee. Tastes like chicken. All right. So, my 3-year-old granddaughter saw my ornament the other day and said, Yoda! Yeah, that's a proud moment. And that's your granddaughter. Can you imagine that? Generations, man.
I can't wait for Molly to scream Yoda.
Yeah, we're getting fucking old, man. All right. So, thank you very much. See you next week. C'est tout.
Yep.
Merci,
Bye.
Kim.
De rien.
Bye, Kim.
Bye.
See you next week. Ciao.